How hard is missionary work? That is an excellent question that I believe deserves further elaboration. When most Latter-day Saints hear the term, missions are hard, they usually are only hearing that at the end of what sounds like an inspiring missionary homecoming talk. The missionary generally recounts a few of the miracles they've experienced, says missions are hard, and then never elaborates on what is defined as hard. So to set the record straight, here's what my definition of hard was when serving a mission in Australia. Honestly, my childhood nostalgia boiled over when I heard I got to go to the most exotic location I could think of that still spoke English. And to get it out of the way, I did see a lot of Australian animals.
Like a lot.
A lot. A lot. But the animals weren't my problem in Australia, or even the weather for that matter. It was the people.
Now, on my first day in Australia, I was extremely jet-lagged. And then I was told to go talk to people on the street in downtown Melbourne.
But almost all the people in downtown Melbourne were some form of Asian, and English was not their first language. Luckily, there was a stormtrooper on the streets that day, so that made things easier for me. Where I predominantly served my mission was in the rural parts of Australia, known as the bush. There, people were long drives away from each other, and if they weren't, they were in the boonies where most people lived off of government assistance.
And if you thought they would be more receptive to religion, given their humble living circumstances instead of lavish ones, then you would be mistaken.
Aussies just keep to themselves, and they don't like solicitors in any way, shape, or form, especially if they're religious. But that wasn't the only hard thing on my plate.
Companions I served with were usually good or at least okay, but some were a nightmare to work with. Usually because they didn't want to follow missionary standards, act mature when they needed to, or were just plain aggressive.
Yeah, that banging was from one of my companions who banged his head against our table for over 20 minutes and left a visible dent in it. Many of my companions also struggled with mental challenges too, and after some traumatic experiences with some companions I was stuck with, I also needed legitimate therapy to get myself out of that rut. Overall though, my mission was indeed full of miracles, adventures, and new friendships, but it was just as much, if not even more full, of times where I questioned why I was there. Why was I here? Why did I have to suffer like this?
Or why didn't my companion get sent home yet?
It's a lot to handle, but it does end up making you a better person overall and giving you experiences that help you empathize with others more easily. It's an experience I wouldn't trade for $1 million,
But I wouldn't buy it back for a cent.